What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and as always, it's me here, the good old Sugi. And yeah, I know it's been a while since the last video, but let's not dwell in the past. Let's talk about the bright future of the RTS genre, which was in a bit of a deep slumber until like 2017, because the game developers realized that casuals didn't enjoy RTS games because they were too hard, so they decided to start develop more casual versions of strategy games, and hence we got card games, Hearthstone, Hex, the Elder Scrolls thing, and because they don't require reflexes, it's all turn-based. Even my granny can play them, and there's a lot of RNG on the design, so you don't really need skill either, and that's why the card games are really, really popular. And also, this led to making a lot of turn-based games in general. We have a lot of these hexagonal games inspired from, XCOM, Fire Emblem, Advance Wars. So we have gotten a ton of those as well. And obviously a lot of simulators, There Is No Oxygen, Factorio, and games like that. But in the last year, we have been seeing this sort of resurgence in the RTS genre. And we got games like Dawn of War 3 and Empires Apart came 2 days ago. Earlier this year, Age of Empires Definitive Edition. Iron Harvest is coming out also, which I'm looking forward to. And also Northgard, which I'm reviewing today. And Northgard is an interesting game because I think it used a lot of new ideas and things and elements that I haven't seen in an RTS game before. And it's a game that is based on the Norse mythology, and it's really set on, I guess, like a bit of the place called Northgard, which is this sort of an island with a lot of Norse creatures, from their folklore, and there's obviously the talk about Ragnarok and other things. And the gameplay is what makes it really interesting, and which made me really hooked into it was the fact that it uses this sort of a similar, akin to Dawn of War type of a region or settlement type of system. So you have a starting zone, and you just can't go and walk to other edge of the map and build there. You actually have to have these things called, well, they're not really spies, they're scouts. And the scouts are able to explore the map more, and you get to see another regions. And certain regions have certain different resources. So there's 3 main resources, which is food, lumber, and coin. And then you have also 2 metals, which is iron and another metal, which my name is... I'm forgetting the name right now. Apologies for that. But and these metals are mostly used to upgrade the units and upgrade the houses. And other resources are really used to build houses. And gold is usually mainly used to recruit units. And what makes Northgard also interesting, it's not so much based on the units. You can't do 200 units in the game. It's a very economical game in the end. And there are different types of game modes which you can play. So you have the classical deathmatch type of way, where domination, where you destroy the enemy base or all enemies. And then you have a lore-based thing. So you have this thing called lore, which you gain through by exploring certain things or sending your sailors to do raiding. And there are other special objectives in the map, if they're generated there, which will also grant these. And it's this sort of like a skill tree or talent tree, which has 3 different trees. One is for merchanting, one is from battle, and one is for pretty much resources. And there's 6 different factions in the game, and each of the factions have the same units, but they have some differences. Because you have this winter thing that comes in the game. So kind of like in Warcraft 3, you have the day and night, which is actually something that a lot of RTS games haven't really used. So in a similar way, you have summer and winter. During winter, you will gain a lot less resources because the people are obviously not able to work as hard as they do in the summer. And then you have certain factions who are able to actually get bonuses while being on winter, and some get reduced bonuses during winter, and they're kind of different type of interesting play styles between the 6 factions, which are really, really well explored in the 11 mission campaign. And the graphics, the looks of the game, the music, it has its own style. It's very modern in my opinion, and kind of akin to the Empires Apart graphic style. A lot more detailed though. And I really like the game because there's also a lot of neutral objectives. So you have these, well, AI run like enemies, which you can, like wolves and bears, which will protect these gold mines, which you can like collect, and then you get gold and you get lore. And the maps are very rich in terms of the objectives, and there's a lot of strategic value in the game because you have to think about in which order you will move and obtain settlements, because you have to like buy them with food or with gold, because you can't capture them otherwise. Well, one faction can, but it's just a very interesting dynamic in general, because a Company of Heroes and Dawn of War have this settlement type of system, but I think they have a very, very basic rundown of that system, and I think Northgard kind of has their unique touch to it, which makes it interesting and refreshing RTS experience. And as for the campaign, which I've completed it. I don't really play RTS games for the single player or the multiplayer value unless I'm really, really into them. And you know, and I'm just more like a single player gamer in that sense, and some people are not. And so I'm gonna review the game. The game review is gonna be mostly based on the campaign for the most part. But I gotta say, I played 1 or 2 single player games against AI, and it was really interesting because you can have different types of modes. And as I was talking about, there are 5 different victory conditions you can set, or you can have a map with all of the victory conditions. And the campaign is around 20 hours. Obviously, some of the maps were really hard, and because of that, I had to take multiple turns. I mean, it's multiple tries, and I really like the challenge. It's really, really on the right edge. It's not too easy, not too hard, because you don't want to steamroll through the maps like it's nothing. And there's a bit of a dialogue on the story, which follows the exiled, well, the new prince whose father was killed by this named called Hagen, and he will travel to the Northgard to avenge his father, and he will meet a lot of other like-minded fellow people who will join him and bend the knee, so to speak. But Northgard is a really good RTS game. I really enjoyed my experience with it. I got a review copy, so I have to say that on here. As terms for the price, it's $30. I guess it's worth the money in case you're gonna play a lot of multiplayer and single player. The campaign was definitely really enjoyable experience for me, and if you're not gonna play the campaign, maybe the price will not be. I mean, it's really up to. I mean, maybe there's a demo out of the game or something somewhere, or you could just watch gameplay and see based on that whether you like it or not. And there's a lot of good optimizations on the game in terms of the graphics, the sounds, and all that. The controls are very smooth. It takes a bit of a time to learn it and get into the meta game, because each RTS game are different. This game is not so rush orientated, so rushing is not really a strategy you can do in this game. So it's a lot more slower paced RTS game for sure. And it's also a lot more on the economical side of the things, even though there's a lot of armies that can be built, but it's an economical game, and defending can be a very, very useful strategy in the game. And it can be a bit of a turtling aspects as well. But I really recommend buying the game if you're a really hardcore RTS fan. And I just was really enjoying my experience with Northgard as a whole. And the Norse mythology has always been interesting to me as a Scandinavian, and there's a lot of story value to it. Even though the story wasn't super amazingly written or anything, I think it was interesting enough to solidify people playing the campaign through. And it's also a good tutorial learning the game by playing the campaign. But thanks for watching this review. Stay tuned for more reviews. Hopefully I will eventually return to Age of Empires 1 Definitive Edition and Empires Apart and review them later on. And maybe Oxygen and RimWorld and Factorio reviews maybe as well. But thanks for joining me. I will see you guys next time. Cheers!